Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Whole Home Show. I'm Tony Joe, your host here every week, bringing you tips, education, and updates on home-related matters. Whether you're in the real estate market or if you're looking for decorating or improvement ideas for your home, this is a great place to be. Our show comes to you with the support of our show partners, Denise Webster, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group, JP Sellers, insurance advisor with Westland Insurance, the Sitka Law Group for your real estate, wills and estates, corporate and personal injury needs, and Shoreline Inspections with Reese Jacob and Monica Gass. If you need help or direction in your real estate transaction, give the Whole Home Show team members a call. They'd love to hear from you. I'm your host here every week. I've been selling real estate in Greater Victoria for a long time. I'm a rare born and raised Victorian. I've helped hundreds of people in our fair city either find their home or sell their home. Proud to be ranked as one of the top RE/MAX agents in Western Canada. I would be pleased to help you as well. So if you need some help in real estate or a second opinion or just want to talk, give me a call. You can find me and the rest of the Whole Home Show members on the CFAX 1070 website, cfax1070.com. Look under shows. There you'll find us, the Whole Home Show with me, Tony Joe. The real estate market is hotter than ever, even under COVID-19 times. What is driving people to buy and sell? Who are the buyers and where are they coming from? Victoria isn't alone. The other two markets garnering the most press nowadays, as they usually do, are Toronto and Vancouver. What's happening in their respective markets? Today, joining us will be Asif Khan from Toronto at RE/MAX Prime Properties and Matt Kerr in Vancouver with Stilhavn Real Estate. They're both here to tell us what they're seeing in those two key Canadian markets. Very interesting stuff. We start our episode always with a listener story or question. And if you have one or a story to tell us, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. The hotline number is 250-414-6540. That's 250-414-6540. Make sure to leave a message and leave your name and number, by the way, so we can call you back just in case. Or you can find us online, cfax1070.com. Tell us your story, and we'll discuss it on the air. This week, I want to talk about something that is coming up more frequently in today's marketplace, and that would be bidding wars and multiple offers. Can you believe that we're back at this point again? You know, it seems like it was a long time ago, 2015, 16, 17, where we were in that unprecedented market where everything was flying off the shelves, multiple offers left, right, and center. So you think about this for a moment. If you were a home buyer and you found your dream home and you wanted to buy it, it's not as easy as just writing an offer, negotiating a little bit, and then ending up having that home. What happens in a situation like this is you would have to compete with more than one other person. Sometimes it's two people, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 20. We've heard big numbers where you have to fight for the house. And you're going in blind, by the way, because you don't get to know what the other people are offering. And it's not just the price. Not only is the price something that tends to go up during multiple offers, but some of your competitors might decide that they don't need to have a building inspection, that they don't need to get confirmation on mortgage financing, definitely that they don't need to sell their house, because that's one thing that you would be gravely mistaken to include in a multiple offer situation, and that is subject to the sale of your home. I'm going to get back to that in just a moment here. So again, you're going to be fighting for a whole bunch of people. There is a process. There are rules of engagement as far as handling multiple offers in the real estate industry. But you don't know. It's hanging by pins and needles for a number of hours, wondering, am I going to get the house? Am I going to get the house? And oftentimes it is heartbreaking when you find that somebody else won. Now, you know, the concession, the thing that usually is comforting, if I could use the word comforting, is usually the person that beat you by paying a whole bunch more money. And it's easy for us to sit back and say, well, you know what, I don't think I would have paid that money anyway, so that's okay, let them have it. But then you keep going and you keep making offers. And we've had people write 12, 15 offers on 15 different properties, keeping on trying until such time as it finally happens. Again, like I said at the very beginning of this conversation here, it's amazing to consider the fact that we're even back here, because it was not that long ago. It was 3 years ago where we had everything selling during multiple offers. You guys all know I've been selling real estate for 29 years, almost 30 years now. I've got to tell you, there are typically spans of time where we don't even see a multiple offer. I'm thinking off the top of my head right now, I'm pretty sure I did not see a bidding war for 12 years. 12 years. And then here we are right now in this atmosphere where they are becoming more common. Now, do you see multiple offers on every property? If you're a seller listening to our show right now, are you wondering, hey, how come I'm not getting multiple offers on my home? It's been on the market for a while. Well, I've mentioned this before on this program. Multiple offers almost always happen when a property is brand new to market. That's the first thing. You don't see multiple offers often in something that's been sitting around for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. You do sometimes, but it's very rare, right? Secondly, they happen on properties that are either priced to market, so in other words, correctly priced. That's when the agent has said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, doing all this research, I figure your house is a $800,000 house. You list it at $799. You don't list it at $850, or you don't list it at $875, hoping to get $800. You see, when you add that extra cushion into your price, that reduces your possibility of getting multiple offers. When you price to market, when you go that $799 on an $800,000 house, when it's brand new, much higher chance you'll get a multiple offer. Some people go the other way too. They might list at $775 or $750, at which point you get this feeding frenzy. It's a little sad too, by the way, because then you'll get people who can only afford $750 all of a sudden thinking they might be able to buy this $800,000 house for $750, even though that was never the intent during the pricing process and wanting to get multiple offers. So again, multiple offers, that's when they tend to happen. Now, a question that comes up a lot is there a formula? Is there a way to ensure that you're going to be the winner of a multiple offer situation? Well, I'll be painfully honest with you. It is a variable that nobody has control over. So to say that there is a formula is kind of wishful thinking at best. Now, I will tell you that there is something that we do, and we compare the true value, not the list value, but the true value of the property compared to what it eventually sells for, and then look at the number of offers that occurred at that house. It requires a fair amount of research. Sometimes we could come up with a per offer value that will help a buyer sort of determine where they should be when they make their offer. So, that is something to consider. The other thing too, as I referred to a moment ago here too, it's not just the price. Oftentimes it is the conditions or lack thereof. You see, a seller will often take a lower price. Again, using this example of the $799 house, let's just say they had a whole bunch of offers. One of the offers was $870,000. And another one was $850,000, except the $850 had no condition, was completely unconditional, not subject to financing, not subject to building inspection, not subject to anything. Very often the seller will say, you know what, it's worth it. The surety to know that the sale is done, instead of me holding out for that extra 20 grand, but not knowing for the 7 or 10 days it's going to take for that buyer to get a building inspection. What happens if they find something? What happens if we end up renegotiating or it collapses? Will that 850 party be there in 10 or 14 days? And the answer there is often not. It's a very risky proposition. So there's a lot to know about bidding wars and multiple offers. This is one of those areas where if you are in the real estate market, it is best for you to connect with a realtor who has a lot of experience with this, because this is most definitely a discipline that requires experience, having gone through situations and won or lost before. Use a realtor's experience to help you with your success in buying or selling real estate. If you have a story again to tell us or share with us, call us 250-414-6540, 250-414-6540. By the way, if you're a podcast listener, find us on iTunes or Google Play. It's the Whole Home Show with me, Tony Joe. And we're also recording all of our episodes right now during Zoom. So find us on Facebook or YouTube. Just look up the Prime Team. We need to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be chatting about real estate in Toronto and Vancouver and how it compares to us here in Victoria. Back in just a moment. Thanks for coming back. You're listening to the Whole Home Show, and I'm Tony Joe. We're talking about what's going on out there in the real estate world under coronavirus times. And in particular, I wanted to chat with my friends in other marketplaces because, of course, as much as Victoria is a really interesting place to be, a lot of influence happens from around us, not the least of which are our metropolitan cities like Toronto, but also, of course, our neighboring town of Vancouver. And with me right now is a returning guest, Matt Kerr. Matt is in Vancouver. Matt, thanks for coming and joining us again.
Oh, well, it's always nice to visit my hometown of Victoria.
Exactly.
No, it's via Zoom. Yes.
Yes. Well, you're not that far anyways. You're just across the water.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. How's it going? So what's going on in Vancouver? What are you seeing right now?
Well, I may be echoing a lot of the same things that happened in Victoria, but it was a very scary and interesting time when we're looking at the what happened when they started to lock down the city.
Yeah.
And we did see a complete the media portrayed it as a complete freeze in the market, but it was, a pretty significant decrease in the amount of transactions, but things were still rolling. We saw a 55% decrease in the amount of transactions from March into April. So, which oddly enough for me and my team, and we still had a pretty strong month all in all. But what we heard was, on the ground, it was just tougher to get transactions done and getting people in and out of homes.
Well, it's because at the time, everyone was kind of like, what's going on? And of course, safety measures and being worried about, introducing strangers into a house and, health and safety and all that stuff.
Yeah, which is still obviously going to be there. And I think it's there for the, foreseeable future.
Yeah, because we've changed a lot of the ways we're doing business day to day, right?
Yeah, we did. And I'm pretty sure everybody's doing this, but with the 3D and the Matterport videos, that just became part of our DNA in our business, and our whole brokerage just started jumping on that. So by the time somebody wants to look at a house, in person, they've seen the photos, floor plan, video, and the Matterport video. They have a really good idea of what they're coming to look at.
Okay, so a big question that people have is, it is thought that the Vancouver market has been heavily influenced by foreign buyers and foreign investors. Now the border's closed, so we don't have people migrating up or into the country, and we're sort of back. Like Vancouver had another strong month in the month of June, right? So the question then is, who the heck is buying?
Well, it's people who live here. They're like Vancouver has it's got all the same economic fundamentals as some of the major cities around North America. We have a lot of very millennials, for example, and a lot of people in the tech sector make pretty good money, and there's two of them, and without kids. It just seems like the locals are wherever their money is coming from. It's really tough as one realtor to say exactly where every dollar is coming from, but it just seems like the foreign buyer market was a part of the market, but it wasn't the whole market.
Yeah. But you see, but again, I mean, there's been this belief that, of course, the government put in some measures to stop foreign buyers to help affordability. It's really done nothing because things aren't any more affordable in the 5 regions like Vancouver, right?
Yeah, and if you look at it, from June 2019 to June 2020, we have a 64% increase in transactions just, last month. Yeah. And compared to when, before coronavirus was even on the radar, before anything else was, other market influences were even there. And we're doing more transactions now.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wish I had a better explanation for it, to be honest, but it just seems like me and my team and my brokerage and where we work, and we don't, like pretty much our whole clientele, my whole database and people I work with are people from Canada, British Columbia. Most if not all of my database live here in the Lower Mainland. Okay,
so something that we are seeing in Victoria, but it is no surprise in Victoria because it's always been this way. You're from here, so you get a sense of it as well too. But we are now seeing a fair amount of Toronto. We've had Toronto, Ottawa, Lower Mainland folk deciding that now's the time to relocate onto the island.
Yeah, to be quite frank, actually, over the last, and you know this, if anybody knows this, Tony Joe knows this, is because I have quite a few people who have sold here and they've moved to the island.
Yeah.
And because they've just decided they've had enough of the city or whatever it is, the real estate prices, work, busy, hustle, concrete, you name it. And you go to, to Victoria, Vancouver Island, and you have a nice, calmer, people drive slower.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate the island, being from the island.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of good
so then, but it brings up the question: if these people are selling in Vancouver and then moving to the island, it doesn't create a vacuum. So it's not like the property they sold didn't sell. Somebody bought it, right? But what you're saying is, as it normally happens, the majority of sales are happening from within.
Yeah.
Within the city, right?
Yeah. Generally, the people who live here in the Lower Mainland are right now, or even during Corona. Like for example, we had a lot of subject to sale deals that went through, which before we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And we did a couple, which was
and the reason you say that is because the house maybe wouldn't sell, so therefore the sale wouldn't happen, right?
That's right. Or you have it, they can't get into the house that they want because it's multiple offers and they cannot have a subject to selling their current residence.
Yeah.
So we were managed to get a few through of those, which was really nice because now in this, here we are now this day in July, like there's no way we could do that now.
Yeah.
And that just won't happen. Like, because no seller is going to look at a subject to sale offer.
Because it got hot all of a sudden. So it went from that prior, actually, that's a good point. That's a good point. We had a pivot in the marketplace that happened quicker than it normally happens.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a thing that we're talking a lot, of course, to our database and our people. It seems like now, and I say this with caution though, because we don't know what's going to happen in the near future, but if you're a buyer and you're looking to get in the market, you have a window right now, because it seems like it's going in the Lower Mainland. The mortgage brokers are doing a lot of pre-approvals and they're getting ready and they're getting a lot of buyers ready. So there's this elusive wave, unmeasured volume of buyers that haven't jumped in the market yet.
Yeah.
And so if you can get in the market here in Lower Mainland, get your piece of property, because a lot of people are saying we're going to be on a bit of a long run of upward pressure on values. So get your home, whatever it is, get an investment property and get your toe in the water, because maybe in a year from now or 2 years from now, it might be completely different landscape in terms of being much, much hotter. It all depends on how we handle what happens with this, especially this virus, and how it affects us economically.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I'm with you with this. Our mortgage broker, a sponsor of our program here, Denise, she's been telling me she's been doing more pre-approvals than she normally does.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. I mean, there's people who are preparing, they're getting ready, and we haven't even seen those guys yet because they will soon enter the market.
And we've seen, if you price, and if you're a seller, if you have, here in Vancouver and you're considering selling, you have to be priced quite sharply to attract that volume of buyers. You have to flirt with it a little bit. Like, for example, Doug from my team, he put a property on the market and he listed it at $420, a great little investment property. And he thought, okay, this seems to be really well priced. And boy, was he right, because we got 24 offers and it sold considerably over asking. But he had, and that was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he played the game right to get the buyers into the property, and that property had everything you needed. It showed well. We had really good marketing behind it. It was easy to access and had a right price. So therefore, it's going to be a successful sale. There's no question. Even
in Vancouver marketplace.
Even with all the fear that's going on out there.
Amazing. Well, listen, we need to take a quick commercial break here in a moment. Matt Kerr is with Stilhavn Real Estate in Vancouver. People need to reach you, Matt. Best way to do that?
Yeah, well, probably through our website. Teamkerr.ca is my website directly to my team, or stilhavn.com, STILHAVN.com.
Yeah, and you are one of the principals at Stilhavn, Vancouver as well, right? Yeah, fantastic. Good. Well, listen, stay right there. Like I said, need to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be picking up our conversation, talking about real estate in Vancouver. during a coronavirus time. We'll be back in just a moment. Hi there, everyone. Thanks for coming back. You are listening to another episode of The Whole Home Show. I'm Tony Joe. Our show comes to you with the support of our show partners, Denise Webster, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group, JP Sellers, insurance advisor at Westland Insurance, the Sitka Law Group for your real estate, wills and estates, corporate and personal injury needs, and Shoreline Inspections with Reese Jacob and Monica Gass. If you need help in your real estate transaction, give any of the Whole Home Show team members a call. They love to hear from you. As a reminder, you can find their contact information by visiting CFAX1070.com. Look under shows. There you'll find us, The Whole Home Show with me, Tony Joe. All of our contact information is there. If you're a podcast listener, you can listen to and download all of our podcasts. We're at 166 now over the years, the past 4 years. Just find us on iTunes or Google Play. Look for The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe. And also, too, during coronavirus time, we are recording via Zoom, and we are videoing as well. So if you want to watch these episodes, including with our guests today, find us on our Facebook page or on YouTube at the Prime Real Estate Team. Before the break, we were chatting about what's going on in real estate in Vancouver, right next to us. And we're here with Matt Kerr, who's an agent and one of the principals of Stilhavn Real Estate in Vancouver. Again, Matt, thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, okay, so just to recap for those maybe who are just joining us right now after the break, we were talking about the fact that Vancouver is as busy now as ever. You had a property that had 24 offers on it just a couple of weeks ago. We've established that the majority of the sales that are happening right now in your marketplace are people from within Vancouver or the Lower Mainland. So we're not seeing the foreign buyers or the Americans or whatever. A question that has come up recently, though, is have you or your team felt any influence by Hong Kong? Because, you know, that's a whole kind of hotspot right now. Are you seeing anything?
In Hong Kong, I have not.
Okay. Because the conjecture is, you know, what's happening over there with, you know, the China-Hong Kong situation is a lot of Hong Kong is thinking about eyes back to Vancouver. And if anything, it might be people that are dual citizens and were here before 1997, right?
Yeah, I suspect that that's what it will be.
Yeah.
It's now I'm relatively uneducated on the like out of the amount of buyers out of the transactions that happened, how many of them actually came in from Hong Kong. So that's now I had a house on the west side that was listed. Mm-hmm. And I had a tremendous, and it was on the market only for 3 weeks, just over $4 million. And it was in a really great school catchment. So it would probably, it attracted a lot of people looking to get in the school catchments. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know. I maybe had a few that were considering it, but it ended up selling to a lovely couple from
locally, right?
Yeah, they're locals. They actually lived like 4 blocks away.
Yeah.
You know, and they sold their house and bought.
So it can be said that the market is being driven by the locals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And it was, you know, and it's definitely at risk of making a political statement, which is not meant to be, that's for sure. It's just that they grabbed a number of what they thought the transactions were or could be from the foreign buyer, and out it went. And they used that to drive through some of the foreign buyer tax. Now, I'm not supplying an opinion on foreign buyer tax or anything like that. I have no issue with it at all for it or against it. But to get it through, that's what they made it very fearful in the market. But it didn't really affect the market. It actually put everybody on hold. All the locals were like, oh my God, okay, this is going to be a thing. It's going to flood the market with properties, in which it didn't.
Yeah, but it also has not made real estate cheaper.
No, agreed.
No, because where are you at right now with average sale price in Vancouver?
Oh, like on the west side houses right now, the average sale price on the west side. So west side is, you know, of course, the more expensive homes. Last month, it was 3.174.
The average.
Yeah, average sale price. So in that was that was in May. That was in May.
Yeah.
So if that gives you sort of an idea. So it's definitely like that's just the west side homes, and obviously on the east side homes is going to be a little different, and on north end. But it's been going like through Corona in the last few months. It's been fairly stable. But now we've seen the average sale price pop up.
Yeah. See, and this is another thing that you know maybe brings us to this conversation, because again, The easy answer has always been, oh, foreign money coming in from out of town, falling into Vancouver. But that completely forgets about the point that people enjoy appreciation of property over time. Maybe that person that bought that $4 million home is a local, and their property has gone up. Maybe they had a 3 million that turned into a 3.2, and they're upgrading now to that $4 million property. So it's all from within. It's staying within the marketplace, right?
The majority of it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not saying there's no foreign transactions going. I'm not saying that necessarily, but the bulk of the real estate transactions is coming within the local drivers of the economy.
Yeah.
So just really quickly, I just grabbed the June. It's actually 3.13. It was the average sale price of a detached home on the west side of Vancouver.
Yeah.
In June. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Hey, by the way, did you know that the average single family in Victoria last month hit $1 million?
Really?
Yeah, 1,015,746. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but mind you, I've mentioned it already on this program. It's because we had 26 sales over $2 million, whereas at the same time last June it was only 12.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
so that average gets skewed, right?
Is that it, including apartments and townhouses?
It is not. No.
Okay. See, like we're roughly on the west side because I live in an apartment. Yep. In Fairview Slopes, which is right near Granville Island, and the average sale price last month was $840,000 for a property, like an attached property on the west side.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, what's the outlook? So how are you feeling about what's going to happen in Vancouver in coming months?
Oh, good question. We discuss this all the time. Right now, I don't see this slowing down until we know what's happening with the second wave. We see the second wave coming in, it'll probably cool things off a little bit. In and around Vancouver, every market, like most of the markets, are in a balanced market where there's equal pressure between the buyers and sellers right now, which is pretty good. But we've seen a couple of crazy things that have happened. We've seen an increase in the transactions. We've seen a decrease in the number of days on the market. We've seen an increase in average sale price, and we haven't seen the inventory follow that demand. So with all those things in place, we'll probably see the prices slowly, over a sustained period, slowly get pushed up, assuming nothing changes. Now, if we have a second wave that comes in, and if it's as impactful as it was, then we might see that change. But right now, with everything that's going on, I assume everything is just going to keep on plugging along.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I remain shocked. I remain shocked that under this global pandemic, our real estate markets have continued doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I am as well. Actually, to be quite frank, I'm very surprised. We're very fortunate to live in British Columbia. Very fortunate to live in Canada. Considering what's going on around the world, and I think people recognize that. And Vancouver is a hyper local market with international drivers in it. It feels like. So the people who live here, they benefit from those, from jobs like Facebook being here, Microsoft being here, Hootsuite, Lululemon, and the list goes on. Then I think you have this local market that's sort of immune from the rest of it, from the rest of what is going on in the rest of the world.
Well, and the reminder is we don't really build anything on the West. We don't create anything. We're not a industrial town that can be affected by the markets of things. We are very much a tech area, tech region, right?
Yeah, totally. And we also have some major like the island, for example. You're just going to run into ocean. Vancouver's got a little bit of that, as well as agricultural land reserve, as well as mountains. So there's only so much land.
Yeah.
Especially South Island for where you're in Victoria.
Yeah. So it's a good spot to be. Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for joining us, Matt. Again, if people need to reach you to talk about Vancouver, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, through our website is teamkerr.ca.
It's Kerr. Yeah.
Yeah. .ca, and then or Stilhavn Real Estate Services, or sorry, just Stilhavn.com at STILHAVN.com.
Yeah, STILHAVN.
Yeah, we do know how to spell.
Okay.
But,
it's German, right?
It's actually Danish. It basically translates to like calm water or calm harbor. Come
Ama-
Harbor, really. Come Harbor.
amazing, amazing. Okay, well, thanks for joining us because you know what? Dispelling myths about what's happening in Vancouver is like one of the epicenters of Canadian real estate. And there we have it, coming from the mouth of somebody who's deep into Vancouver real estate and a busy agent. Um, most of the market's being driven by local buyers. There we go, right?
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming back. You're listening to The Whole Home Show, and I'm Tony Joe. We're having a conversation about real estate in coronavirus times in different marketplaces, notably our two metropolitan cities, and that would be Vancouver. We just had Matt Kerr from Stilhavn Real Estate talking with us about what's happening next door to us. And right now we have with us on the line Asif Khan. He is in the Toronto area. He is an agent and broker owner of Remax Prime Properties. Asif, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, again, of course, you're another regular guest. We've had you on before. You've got your own radio show as well, too. And before I forget, let's tell our listeners about your show and when it's on.
That's awesome. Thank you. We're on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Toronto time, so 8 a.m. your time.
Yep.
And you can get us online at 1059theregion.com. Click listen live, and our archives are on there as well under On the Market.
Fantastic. Well, and I've been a guest on your show. It's nice talking about Victoria real estate over there.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, very interesting time. We've looked at the numbers. We've talked numbers about Victoria and Vancouver recently. What's going on in Toronto, in the GTA? And first of all, the population is, I think, 6.5 million in the GTA right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? I mean, we experienced a really hot market to start off 2020. So from January to March, houses were just flying off the shelves. Average price was climbing, and then we were hit by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw a huge decline in April and even more so in May.
Okay.
We're looking at active inventory and we were looking at, home prices. They were pretty stable. Even through the COVID period, home prices went up about 1%, which was surprising to a lot, but sales were down 60 to 70%.
From the year prior. Yeah.
From the year prior.
Yeah.
And what we saw in June it was like someone flicked the switch. So we went from the COVID pause to full speed ahead overnight. Yeah. And June was almost the same as June 2019, which shocked everyone. The Toronto real estate market was down 1.4% June over June, so 2020 over 2019. And
sorry. So you went from what, 56% below to all of a sudden 1%, almost on par.
Almost on par, yeah.
Wow.
So we sold last month in the Toronto market, we sold 8,701 homes.
Okay.
And typically in June we would be around 8,800. So it was surprising. It was a welcome change, and it just showed the resilience of the Toronto market.
Okay. So a big question then is, and I spoke about this with Matt just now, because when a house sells, there had to be a buyer, and where is that buyer coming from?
What we're seeing is we had a lot of pent up demand from local buyers.
Okay.
And all they were doing was sitting on the fence. And traditionally in the north part of the GTA, where I'm from, York region, we have a lot of foreign buyers coming in. Foreign investors purchasing properties.
So Markham, for instance, is a great example of,
Markham,
Richmond in Vancouver, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that hasn't changed. I mean, we're starting to get them back again. And even though the borders are closed right now, we are starting to see some money flow through and people buying just because of the uncertainty back home for them. They want stability and they want their kids to go to school here. And that's been a driving force for York region is the quality of our schools have attracted a lot of foreign buyers. And so that is definitely fueling the market. But we have a lot of move-up buyers. A lot of people that used to live downtown in condos have realized over the COVID pause that they need more room. Their family needs a backyard. They want to be by the water. And if you look at what's happening in the Toronto core, a lot of people are leaving their condos and putting up them for sale and moving to a detached home up in the suburbs. And that's been doing it.
I've heard about that actually. So I've heard about like Hamilton, Barrie, all of those outlying areas things are, it's the ripple effect of people selling in Toronto and then moving outwards, right?
It really is. And if you look at our average price, it's up 12%
Wow.
from the start of the year. And a big reason, Tony, is the shift in the mix. We used to sell a lot of condos, and now we're selling a lot of detached homes.
Okay.
And once you factor that in, the average price of a condo in York Region is about $530,000. The average price of a detached home here is $1.2 million. And we're starting to see more detached homes sell. So that stat, the average price is a little bit skewed because the mix has shifted. It's not the same mix.
Yeah, because you've got the combined average. It's everything, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very interesting. So again, this seems to be a common theme, and that is what self-isolation and sheltering in place has done is it's caused people to really rethink their lifestyle choice as far as housing, right?
It really has. And I'm not sure what's happening in BC, but I think the market that's going to get hit the hardest here is the commercial sector.
Yeah.
Because a lot of companies are realizing they do not need that much space because employees are working from home.
Yeah.
And with the employees working from home, the employees are realizing they need more space. We've had a number of people come to us and say, you know, as part of their needs and wants for their next home, they want an office. They want a home office, and they want it with a door so that if their kids are home, because we don't know, you guys have gone back to school, our schools are still closed, and we are not sure if we'll even go back in September.
Interesting. Yeah, and it's extra hard if you're living in a condo where you've got a bedroom yourself, you got bedroom for the kids, and if your workspace is like out in the open, like in the living area or something like that, all of a sudden you're in close confines. That's going to make life pretty tough.
And the challenge with the condos also has been all the amenities within the condo are closed.
Yeah.
So if you have kids and you're living in a condo, you're confined to 900, 800 square feet, and that's why these new buyers have come from. They're upsizing into a home with a yard where their kids can go out, or near parks, and it's been a huge transition.
Mm-hmm. How about the top end of the market? So the expensive houses in the GTA, what's happening there?
Again, they were pretty quiet throughout 2017, 2018, but they've really made a resurgence. So the top end has started to sell. And again, it's a lot of families thinking, hey, I need to move in with mom and dad. I haven't seen them for 4 or 5 months. If we ever go through something like this, I want them closer. Or just the fact that
so you mean like getting a bigger house so that mom and dad can be in it?
Yeah, multifamily.
Oh, okay.
And also we're looking at people not being able to afford these luxury homes or larger homes on their own. So the bank of mom and dad is coming in handy because mom and dad are selling their home. Son or daughter are selling their condo or their townhouse, and they're moving in together, pooling their money, moving in together. And now mom and dad can take care of the kids while, son or daughter has to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a reminder, there's an age-old presumption that people buy up 50%, right? So if they're selling their $2 million house, then they're buying a $3 million house.
That's right.
Right. And that's generally kind of what the pattern is. And from what I hear, that's what you're saying is kind of happening in the marketplace there, right?
Yeah. So we've got the segment of the market that's upsizing. We've got the segment of the market that's downsizing, and then some of them are getting together and they're smart sizing. So, we've got 3 different things happening, and at the same time, we've got our foreign buyers still coming in as well.
Interesting. Are you seeing often people buying via FaceTime, Skype, Zoom without even physically going into a property?
We sold a few of those properties over the COVID period because we weren't physically able to go out and see these properties. But it's a lot easier to buy a condo that way than a house. And I didn't hear a lot of stories about people buying houses like that, but condos, because in a condo building, there's only 4 or 5 different floor plans. You've seen it, and you can go in and check it out, and put a condition on for 24 hours to go and see it. But with a home, there's so many more variables with the home inspection, the roof, the furnace, is it leaking? Yeah. It's a lot harder to purchase a home that way.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. And what do you feel about what does the future hold? Like, what do you think is going to happen in the Toronto real estate market in the near future?
It's going to continue to be strong, and there's multifaceted reasons for that. The one thing is, Tony, during the COVID period here, construction was put on hold. So if if it wasn't already in progress, it was put on hold. And we depend on new housing starts to build our inventory, to have our supply. And what ends up happening is, say a condo project is delayed for a year or so, that's a year that we're not going to get that extra inventory. And right now, although our inventory is up, our new listings are up 2%, our active inventory is down about 30%. So we have a huge supply problem, which is going to be complicated by the new housing starts being delayed. And this is going to, we won't be able to even this out until all of these new housing starts get going. And, we're looking at maybe 2 years until we start to catch up. And the demand remains so strong that our inventory, unless we do something to address the supply, the prices are going to continue to go up. And
I find this really interesting because, of course, here we are stuck in our little, our little corner of the country. And, we're watching what's going on in Ontario. I remember when the premier told tenants, if you can't pay rent, don't pay rent. And, kind of makes you wonder about, how are people doing over there and with social distancing and all that kind of stuff. But it appears that the market is still trucking along here. Like, things are good in GTA.
It is. And it was very different than any other slowdown that we faced before, because this was more of a pause. And, the government was handing out money to everyone. So people were still making some money. It wasn't like a recession where people lost their jobs permanently and things like that. So, it was a very different vibe. And people knew that when this is over, when we enter phase 2, then things are going to get back to somewhat of a normal. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the consumer confidence is at a high right now, which is very surprising.
Wow.
With all the negative reports that were out. But you talk to buyers and sellers, they're anxious, they're ready to go, and they are paying that, I think we're selling at 105 to 110% of list in most markets.
Yeah, because that's multiple offers, that's bidding wars. That's an example of high demand, low inventory, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh my goodness. Always really interesting to hear about what's going on in other places in the country here. I remind people often that as far as prices are concerned, it's Vancouver, Toronto, Victoria. We're third most expensive in the country. Still a lot cheaper than both of the other two marketplaces, but you don't get expensive without being in demand, right?
That's right. And, this is where people are flocking to. This is where the jobs are. And that's what's going to continue to drive our market. And, unless, again, it's a supply and demand equation, simple economics, until we get more supply, we're going to be faced with increasing prices.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Asif, thank you again for joining us. Asif Khan, host of the On the Market. Yeah, also broker owner at Remax Prime Properties in Markham. And you just opened a new office. Where's the other branch?
It's in Mount Albert. So it's in the north part of York region. Great little office right in the heart of Mount Albert. Cute little street there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having you here when you can, and we'll go take a look. I'll
be there once everything has been relaxed. Great catching up with you. If people need to reach you, best way is?
They can email me at Asif, ASIF, at thehomeshop.ca.
Thehomeshop.ca. Thank you, Asif. And thank you, listeners, for following us this week. As always, we'll be here for you this time next week.